Hey, what is going on, guys? Veil Decay here. Got another video I'm bringing to you guys. This is part 2 of the race selection in Battle for Azeroth. This go around I'm doing the Horde. So I did my first video on the Alliance and what I thought was the best races for an Alliance Mage. So I'm going to do the same thing, give you guys the top 3 in PvP and PvE at the end when I am done going through all the different racials for all the different races. So, that being said, why don't we jump into it and get this thing rolling? Alright, so first up is the Orcs. Orcs, you get Blood Fury, which increases your damage. It's nice, man. Nice to go with like Icy Veins, Combustion, Arcane Power, or use it on its own. It's even good then. So nice damage buff. It's really good, really strong. Next up is the 20% stun reduction. As an orc, you get stunned 20% less of a duration. So in Legion, they had Relentless, and as an orc, they stacked. But I believe in Battle for Azeroth, they changed it. They no longer stack, but still 20% less time in a stun is a big deal. So it's pretty significant. So that's really strong and it's still there. Damage done by pets. Well, you might see this and you might want to know why I'm talking about it. Well, as a Frost Mage, you do have your Water Elemental, and guess what? That counts as a pet. So you get that 1% extra damage from that Water Elemental. Now 1%, you think, oh, well, that's not that much. But you never know. 1% might be a kill. You never know. So that does it for the Orcs. Next up is Undead. So as an Undead, you get the Will of the Forsaken, which removes fears, sleeps, and charms. So as you all know, that's pretty significant. It definitely helps with a lot of mechanics and like PvP aspects of things, and it's really nice to have. Next up, Cannibalize. What's better than taking down an enemy and then just eating them? Just add insult to injury. It gives you back health and mana, just a way for you to, just a racial thing. It's just class flavor. I mean racial flavor is all it is. Next up is the dot that you get from being undead. It heals you. It's called Touch of the Grave. It heals you and does damage to an enemy. It equals about 2% of your total damage breakdown, which is pretty decent considering most racials are pretty subpar. So yeah, definitely worth looking into. And last up on the list is resistance to shadow damage. You get 1% resistant to shadow damage. And next up we got Troll. So as a Troll, you get Berserking. It is 15% haste on, I believe, a 3-minute cooldown. So you've got Berserking and you've got Veins. And you have, Bloodlust on top of that. So throwing out a whole bunch of spells with all these different haste buffs. Really strong as a mage. Regen increased. You get 10% regen in and out of combat, I believe. Just regen your health 10% faster. Next up is expertise gain from killing beasts. You get 20% more XP from killing beasts. Now, with Battle for Azeroth coming out and having the level, there's gonna be beasts everywhere. So you're gonna level just a little bit faster than most because you get that 20% buff. And there's beasts in the world everywhere. So it'll definitely help. Last but not least is the reduced duration of movement and parrying effects. you get 20% less time stuck in slows. And as a mage, if you're slow, you're gonna get caught, they're gonna kill you. So 20% less time in slows definitely helps a lot. That being said, we're gonna go ahead and roll on into Blood Elf. So the Blood Elf, you get 10%, I mean, not 10%, you get plus 10 extra enchanting. Then you have Arcane Torrent, which gives you back 3% mana. And now it's a Dispel. It was a Silence up until now. So many people stacked Blood Elves in Mythic Plus stuff and raids and things like that. Blizzard saw the problem, changed it. It's now a Dispel. Most people see it, as a significant nerf, which, yes, it is. But you also now have a Dispel, which can be useful in itself. So you got to take the good with the bad. Lastly, you got resistance to arcane damage, which is 1%. Next up, you got a Goblin. Goblins have rocket jump. You jump forward. Obviously, you're standing in a mechanic you shouldn't be. Rocket jump, you're out. You also have blink, but what if your blink's on cooldown? You got rocket jump. Something to help you. Next up, you've got rocket launch. You can launch rockets at an enemy. Looking into it, I didn't think it would be too significant, but it does about 2,000 damage, which might not seem like a lot, but with the stat squish, 2k is pretty good. Next up, you got vendor discounts. You just get cheaper stuff at vendors. If you're tight on gold or whatever, which, some people might be, that'll definitely help you out. You get to summon a bank, just goblin things, bank, gold, just fits their racial flavor kind of thing. You get 1% haste as a goblin, which, has its uses. 1% haste, you cast faster, you get more spells out. Lastly, you've got, alchemy. It is increased by 15, and then I believe you get a buff to the potions you make too. So that's Goblin, Next up, Panda. Everybody's favorite, right? Everybody loves Panda. So as a Panda, you have an Incap, you have an Incapacitate, which could help you as a mage. You have 2 times rested XP. So if you're leveling, you get 2 times rested XP, which is nice. But again, it only helps you while leveling. Here's the big one. Increased benefit from eating food. So you get double food buff. Double the intel, double crit, double stam, whatever buff you're getting from your food, you're getting double. Really nice. Definitely helps. Next is cooking. Cooking's increased by, I think it's 15, something like that. And then bouncy, you take less damage when you fall, but as a mage, you've got blink and slow fall. You shouldn't really be taking damage, but things happen. And yeah, you take less as a panda. So we're gonna jump into the allied races now and knock those out. So first up, Nightborne. So Nightborne, you get a snare, which does about just under 1,000 damage, but it's a 50% slow. Slows them by 50%. Could definitely help you get away in some situations from whatever you're running from. Definitely nice little tool if used correctly. Increased magical damage. You get 1% increased magic damage. Again, 1% might not seem like a lot, but 1% is 1%. And next we have resistance to arcane damage. 1% resist arcane. No big deal, whatever. Inscription is increased by 15. Everybody loves inscription, right? It's everybody's favorite profession. Then lastly, we have mailbox. They can summon a mailbox, which that's cool. Everybody needs a mailbox every once in a while. You got something in the mail, or you forgot something, and has its uses, I guess. Last up is the Moghar Orc. So it's the new one. It's the big boy, right? The Draenor Orcs. They have what is called Ancestral Call. It gives you a random buff of crit, haste, mastery, and I think verse. And the value is 411. So you get an increase in crit, haste, mastery, or verse by 411. Seems pretty good. But it definitely would be a lot better if it wasn't random. But you gotta take what you can, I guess. Faster mount speeds while outdoors, so while you're outside you move 10% faster on your mount. Could be useful in some way or another. I don't know if it works in Battlegrounds or not, but you do move 10% faster. Your pet health is increased by 10%. I mean, I don't see how that would be any kind of significant. Your water elemental would have 10% more health. Doesn't die anyway, so I don't see the point. Reduced duration on poisons, diseases, and curses. This is the only thing that I see so far on this that looks promising. So you got 10% reduction on poisons, diseases, and curses. 10% less on any kind of dots is well worth it. So there you have it. That is all of the different races from the Horde side and what each one of their racials do. So now I'm going to break it down and give you guys the top 3 for PvE and PvP. Now these are my opinion and what I think is best personally. One thing I did not mention in my previous video, and one thing I want you guys to realize is these decisions and these choices and things like that are min-max. They are very minimal, very minute, very small. So play what you want to play. If you want to play anything, just play it. You want to play a goblin, play a goblin. Whatever you want to play, because these racials are literally very small. So that being said, I'm gonna jump into my top 3 for the PvE. So for PvE, I'm gonna start at the bottom and go up. So 3rd place, got the bronze, right? 3rd place with the bronze is Goblin. Now, the reason I picked the Goblin is because of the rocket jump, which helps you get out of like stuff on the ground in raid or out of somebody's reach in PvP. But this is, PvE focused, so Rocket jump helps you get out of mechanics. 2k on the rockets could help you get a kill somehow. Cheaper vendor discounts could save you gold because raiding can be expensive. The personal bank because people always need stuff for raid. Haste because faster spell casting. And then, alchemy because better potions, right? Better flasks or whatever. So that is my third place. That is bronze for PvE. Coming up, second place with the silver. Nightborne. Solely on the fact that they have the 1% magical damage. Like I said, min-max, right? That 1% could definitely help. That is why I put them at second for PvE. So, here we go. First place with the gold, the troll. Troll mages are just, leaps and bounds ahead of the other races. Berserking is just too good to pass up as a mage. It's just too good, man. That 15% haste on like a 3-minute cooldown is just too good. So those are my top three for PvE. So now we're going to go into the PvP side of things, and I'm going to give you my top 3 on those. So top 3 coming in with the bronze in third place, Blood Elf. Blood Elf lost their AoE silence, right? So they took a hit. But they still have the Dispel. Dispel could help so much in any kind of situation. You can get that one spell that somebody has and you don't have the mana, from spell stealing, and you can just yank it. It'll have its uses, I promise. Not to mention the mana you get back from it. They're just, Plus, I'm pretty sure you get crit. 1% crit, I'm pretty sure. I might not have mentioned it, but I think you get 1% crit as a Blood Elf. So that is my third place choice for PvP. Second place, Undead. Why Undead? Because of the change to Will of the Forsaken. It now shares a 30-second cooldown with, other trinkets or whatever. It's gonna be really good. It's gonna help getting out of those fears, sleeps, and charms. It's gonna help a lot. Not to mention, the dot or the damage that it does when it heals, when you heal from doing damage, could definitely save you in some situations. So that is my number 2 with the silver. Gold medal, first place. Shouldn't be much of a surprise in PvP. Orc. Blood Fury for those burst windows when you just want to take somebody out. You got Blood Fury. The 1% damage, like I said, is 1%, but it could get you a kill with that 1%. But most importantly, and why they still dominate, is because of the 20% stun reduction. When you sit in stuns from rogues and warriors and anything else, 20% less as a clothy, as a mage, 20% less is significant. It will save your life. So that is why Orc is my number 1 choice on the PvP side. So I hope that I've been able to give you guys some kind of information to help you choose the class you want. Like I've said, it's very minute, very minimal min-max. You play what you want to play, but these are just my thoughts on what is best. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you got anything to tell me, good, bad, ugly, stupid, whatever, You guys got something to let me know, throw it down in the comments below. You know, while you're close to down there, man, you know, maybe throw me a like or a subscribe if you like the content, and I'll keep throwing it out for you guys because I really do enjoy doing these things for y'all. And that's gonna do it for the video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.